What time is it? 6:49. Oh, what are you doing in here? God, blimey. Oh. Yes, well, what time did I say it was? 6:51. Oh, right, where are we? Oh, let me show you. Black Gang. Oh, the joys of living in a car. It's all a bit of a squeeze, but it's fine. Oh. This is the reality of it, people. The reality of living in a car. How do you get up in the morning? Well, you can see at least part of how I get up. It's okay, I did use the old wet wipes. So I've kind of wiped down a bit. I'm not going to show you that bit. This is bad enough. The reality of getting out of bed in the morning when you live in a car. It's not very romantic, is it? I'm not going to put this on Instagram. Here we go. Good morning. Where's the mic go? There it is. Move it from there, lest it bash on the thingy. Right, what do we need to make a cup of coffee? There's there's some of the oat milk. I'm not going to use that one there. I'm not going to use gas this time, I hope. Let's get my binoculars ready. I want to go on a birdie walk. Coffee, opened oat milk, some sugar. There's my camera bag. There's my phone. What else do we need? Water. Water's there. Cup's over there. Let's grab my phone charging cable so I don't forget that later on. There's the water. There's my other layer. Actually, I will put that on because the weather's looking beautiful outside. Clear skies, which means it will be a little bit chilly first thing. It being early March. No, late March. What date is it, people? 20th of March. Just gone 7 AM. Mustn't forget the all-important ginger nuts. Gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. There's a drone. Don't know why that was on the seat particularly. Right. So to get out of bed, I kind of scramble. Let's put you can go there, I think. So I scramble into the driver's seat. There we go. I'm now up and ready to go. Ready to make a cup of coffee. So what I'm going to do is put this little kettle on. Where did I put its charging cable? I found its charging cable, but now I've lost it again. It's down in this little compartment down here underneath the Kasuri, I think. There it is. There's a little cable. Where should I put you? Do you want to go there? Am I in shot? I'm not sure. Let me. I need better setup of places to stick the camera. That might be okay. Let's connect this one up, I think. Do I want to connect this one up? It's got any it's such a faff in the mornings, especially when I'm filming like this. But this is the reality of living in a very small car and creating little videos like this. There's micro SD. If you're new to this channel, welcome firstly. Secondly, you can tell nothing's polished about this channel. It is what it is. What you see is what you get. There we go. We've gone on to the old Osmo Pocket 3 camera now, which is a really good camera. So, let me put you down there. There's my little kettle. So what I need to do is to measure out enough oat milk and add some water to make a nice cup of coffee, which is always my first morning task. As regulars to this channel will probably have worked out. Add some water. So this is the first time in about 4 nights I've actually slept in the car rather than in the house. And am I pleased I did, because I'm not down in Ventnor Bay first thing. I'm out here in Blackgang. It's all on the Isle of Wight, obviously, if you're new to the channel. Okay, so I plug this into the Bluetti. How much charge have we got? 71%. And you get plugged in. It's very hard to do this with one hand. That's better. You get plugged in there. This was a purchase for me from my Amazon wish list from a fantastic channel viewer. Thank you. I love this little kettle. Perfect. What I have done wrong though is put oat milk in here. I don't want to put oat milk in there. What do? Oh well, it's a one-off. Make sure I wash it out properly, because oat milk will tend to burn onto the base of the kettle, and I can't get my hand in there, so it would be really difficult to clean out. So this is a one-off. Ordinarily I'd only put the water in here. There we go, that is boiling. Now, put some coffee in the cup. Nothing posh, just the Zera decaf, which I do like. It's a nice cup of coffee, kind of a latte. Not really a latte. Or latte. Somebody commented criticising me on my mess in my car. It's the reality, people. When you have a really tiny space, it can be a little bit chaotic because it's a little tiny space. And one point of this channel is to be fairly raw, fairly kind of realistic, to give you a proper look of how people live when they're in a car. Because there's no space, but you do have at least some stuff, some possessions, and they tend to get strewed around a bit. But I'm also in a bit of a transition from the room back into the car. I've been in the room since January, not literally, because I've been in the car overnight more than the room, but I've had the room available and I've been using it till, well, maybe up to 3 times a week. So stuff has been a bit chaotic going between the two. Is I guess what I'm trying to, the excuse I'm trying to spin here. Ah, dear. So there's no romance, there's no Instagram photos of me in a bikini leaning out of my car in the sun by the sea. Maybe in the summer, maybe not in a bikini, but you get what I'm saying. So reality number one is getting out of bed is a bit of a trauma. It's boiling more slowly because it's an oat milk mix rather than just pure water. I can multitask whilst it's boiling. I can put my clothes on. Far off now. Oh, it is boiled. There we go. Turn the AC off on the Bluetti. Now, in it goes. Blowing the steam away from my hand. Then I'm going to swish it around with this. That'll be the last time I use oat milk in this little kettle. I mean, I can get my hand through there because it's a collapsible, hold on, because it's a little collapsible kettle. You can lower it down and clean it out, but even so, I'd still rather not boil oat milk in there if I can avoid it. Put a bit more of that in there. And pour the rest out. Water the grass. Oh, what a squeak. I'll probably boil some more water in there later to clean it out a bit better. And it goes compact again. Thank you for the person that very kindly purchased that for me from my Amazon wish list. A link to which is in the description below this video. Right. Just going to have a slurp of coffee. I'm running the car, got the little radiator on because it was a bit chilly. If anyone else out there is a van dweller or a car dweller and they know of any little tiny heater that would work in a small space like this for first thing in the morning, so I didn't have to run the engine. Drop information about it in the comment section if you wouldn't mind, that would be very much appreciated. Because I'd rather not burn flipping petrol, especially the price it is at the moment, because we're currently wrecking the Middle East. I say we, Donald Trump is Oh, politics. No politics allowed on this channel. I forgot, sorry. Ginger nuts. Back to something we can all agree on, which is dunking ginger nuts in your tea and coffee is good, good, good. What's that? Go out there on a walk in a second. I promise. I promise a walk and I will deliver a walk. It's Friday today. Oh, it is a cracking morning. So yeah, living in a car can really be quite uncomfortable, and if you're not an independent person that likes scrambling around, doesn't need luxury, likes a flow of air going through, doesn't particularly value your privacy. I didn't even bother to put the curtains around last night, so it's all open for people to see. Well, basically this is what you can see from inside. Very messy whatever this shelf is, can't think this morning, but anyway, yeah, it's all open for people to see. I don't mind that. It's a very quiet car park overnight. There's van dwellers over there. There's 2 vans in the car park here. So yeah, if you're in a little tiny car, people will know you're in a little tiny car overnight if they walk past and glance at the car. So if you value your privacy, live in a bigger van rather than a car, or live in a house even. That would be novel, wouldn't it? Now I love doing this. This is just my scene. I'm a bit of a loner when it comes to house, or when it comes to where I sleep at night and where I have my base. I like to be with myself, rather than with housemates and that kind of stuff. It's the filter on. Hold on. Just have to turn the filter down. Don't know if that's made any difference at all. So I value this solitude in the mornings. But if you don't, if you get up and you want to be with people, don't live in a car. Live in a van if you can have if you want to live as a couple, if you can have a partner in a van, that would be great. But lovely. I think it's time for a walk. I think I only need one jacket this morning. It's not really, there's a little bit of a breeze. Don't think it's going to be that cold though. I'm not sure this craze for car dwelling is going to catch on. Tell me in the comments section if you do live in a car. I'm intrigued to know how big the community actually is. There are a few people, I know that for sure. Okay, so I can't find my hat, which I need to put the camera on my head. Another little stress of living in a vehicle is you lose stuff, as if you don't in a house as well. Of course you do. I brought everything forward. Okay, where's my hat gone? Oh, it is in the bag. Just checked the bag and didn't see it. So, for the walking section of these videos, I put this DJI, don't know how it all got tangled, DJI head strap thingy on with a clip, and the little camera sits on there like so. Tilt it forward a bit so I can tuck the hat in over and kind of between it and the strap like that. There we go. There's the camera mounted, and the microphone clips on like that. And there we have it all connected up, and we can go for a walk. Okay, 7:33, 20th of March. Let's have a quick birding walk. See if we can see any migrant birds. Lovely to see the blackthorn in flower. Yellowhammer's singing as well. So this is a prime candidate for release of red-billed choughs as part of the reintroduction project. Got this lovely tightly grazed grassland over there. That's an organic cattle farm, and choughs love to probe into cattle dung, looking for invertebrates, dung beetles and other invertebrates associated with dung, and they probe in the grassland, just like, well, the rooks are picking at the surface really, but choughs have that long curved sharp beak which they can probe in a centimetre or two into the soil surface and get tipulids and that kind of stuff. So there's plenty of that kind of foraging habitat for them around here. And if we were to release them, it would be somewhere within view of potential nesting cliffs. And that's what we have down here. What you need is a close association, a juxtaposition of foraging habitat, which is open, short grassland basically for choughs that has invertebrates in it, right next to suitable nesting sites. Because when the parents are provisioning youngsters, provisioning their chicks at the nest, they don't want to travel too far to find food. The further they have to travel, the higher the risks, the shorter or the lower the fewer the return rates to the nest, presumably, and the higher the kind of the energetic demands on the parents, and the less food potentially the chicks are getting. So you want the foraging habitat to be as close to the nest as possible, so the parents don't have to travel as far, reducing the risks to them. It's shorter time between finding the food and taking it back to the chicks, which is less energetically costly for the parents and means potentially the chicks can get more frequent or an adequate provision of food. It might be inadequate if the parents have to travel just too far. And the food resources have to be abundant in the grasslands. There's a nice jackdaw there, not quite a chough, but close. Here's a nesting habitat. Now, it's always been fairly wooded around here, in the undercliff down there. This is blackgang. Just heard a siskin. There's a goldfinch there, but I heard a siskin. I can hear a roaring dinosaur at blackgang chine as well. There's a goldfinch. A serin would be nice. So we need to find a suitable release site. Possibly down here somewhere. Down here somewhere even. Let's have a little bit of a walk up this way. We're not going to go very far. So how would you manage this red-billed chough reintroduction? How would you achieve it? Essentially, the plan for the Isle of Wight project, there's another Purbeck project, project in Purbeck. Purbeck is just over there. You can probably just about make out the west side down and the Needles, the big chalk sea cliffs on the island, and just beyond those is Purbeck. So there's a reintroduction project in Purbeck and a reintroduction project on the Isle of Wight. They're deploying different methods. So in Purbeck, the project partners are hoping to collect choughs from the wild, from thriving populations, potentially Cornwall, potentially Wales, possibly Ireland, and then bring those wild taken individuals and release them in Purbeck, soft release them, put them into aviaries, do all the health checks and then release them. Whereas on the Isle of Wight, we're planning to source the birds from conservation breeding. So at Paradise Park in Cornwall, the owners of the park have perfected how to breed choughs in captivity and produce chicks that can then be released into suitable habitats. So they've done it in Jersey using that method. They're doing it now in Kent, and early signs are it's successful. And we're hopefully going to deploy the same approach on the Isle of Wight. So basically, Paradise Park would supply us with choughs that have been bred in captivity, juveniles in little family type groups. They would have been raised in creches, some of them, and some adult raised, or some parent raised, some hand reared by humans, crashed up and then brought here as little family groups. Not literally family groups, just kind of a mimicking family groups. So they'd be unrelated or not closely related, the individuals. And then you'd have a big polytunnel style soft release aviary somewhere here on the island in one of these little undercliff areas overlooking or overlooked by cliff habitat, nesting habitat, and you would soft release them. So you'd basically be feeding them in the aviary and doing all the health checks and making sure, training them basically to cope with the winds and the conditions here locally. Oh, there's a peregrine there, it's very nice. One of the predators of red-billed chough, heading out to sea. Yeah, so they'd have a long flight aviary so they can strengthen their flight muscles and get used to the winds going through their release aviary. Then you soft release them. What you would have done is kind of mildly habituated them to coming back to food. So you'd be feeding them when they're in the little aviary, the release aviary, and you'd habituate them to potentially the sound of a whistle. So when you feed them, you'd blow a whistle, and they'd learn to come down. They'd learn the whistle means food, and that means when you release that first cohort into a landscape like this, where there are no other choughs, you have that insurance basically that they will come back to be fed if they're in any way, or if you are in any way unsure that they're finding enough food. Now we know that the habitat here is superb for red-billed chough, so there's no question that they'll find enough food, but it's just wise to have that little insurance policy of the birds, some of the birds in the groups, mildly habituated to a whistle to know where there's food. Now that's the first cohort. The reason that's important potentially for the first cohort, the first birds you release in year one, is because they're coming out into a landscape without choughs, and we know they're highly social birds, and they all meet up together like rooks do and jackdaws, and they socialise, and they feed in gangs of 10s, 20s of choughs. Something carrion crows don't really do. Rooks certainly do it, jackdaws certainly do it, and choughs certainly do it. So those first birds, you might release 6 or 8 birds in the first year. They will have no adults and no other groups of choughs in the landscape to join up with. So having that, having them come back for food at the sound of a whistle is a good way of anchoring them into the landscape and giving them the time to find their own food, but also have food available to them, that they respond to that cue of the whistle to. So there we have it, and that's the first cohort. Second cohort, you hopefully wouldn't need to do that, because the first cohort would have survived and be out in the landscape and know what's what. So that's year 2 birds basically, and then you carry that on. So my approach would be to release lots of birds as quickly as possible over 3, maybe 4 years. So don't extend the release interval too long. A large number of birds over a short period of time is, to my mind, the best way to do it. It's two jackdaws there. They're not choughs, no, definitely not choughs. There's an alpine excenter at this time of year a couple of years ago along this cliff top, right here, foraging, hopping about. That was rather lovely. I didn't find it, but I did see it. So yeah, any choughs nesting on the cliffs here will historically have fed on these grasslands and arable fields on the cliff top, and they will be back by 2030 if I've got anything to do with it, which I have, because we're doing a feasibility study, or we're doing the evidence to support a licence application right now, me and Lily Gray. So stay tuned for an update on that. Give any comments in the comments section below this video as well. Look at that lovely nesting habitat. They're going to love being back here, choughs. Nest on these cliffs, and you've got above you've got grassland, not quite as short as it will need to be, and below you've got all sorts of landslips and undercliffs and loads of foraging habitat down there. Be fascinating to see how they use these different options. You've got the jackdaws on the green sand, upper green sand. Nest building has got twigs. Lower green sand, upper green sand, I can't remember which one it is. But sadly, as far as I can see, no choughs. Of course, what's going to happen is we'll start a release program and wild choughs will suddenly appear, as they did in Cornwall. There's always a risk of that, or a risk, always the potential for that to happen. I won't call it a risk because it will be a good thing, you know, because any wild ones that appear will not be anchored into the landscape. So if we're releasing birds at the same time, that can only be a good thing. Arguably. Bit breezy. I apologise if that's blowing on the microphone too much. So tell me in the comments section what you think about that project. Reintroducing red-billed chough here on the Isle of Wight. So the feasibility study is looking at the Isle of Wight and Beachy Head, or Seven Sisters. So it's essentially continuing the south coast reintroduction of red-billed chough. So we'll have reintroductions going on already in Kent. There's a lovely meadow pipit. There's a raven coming across the field. You may be able to see that. It's going to go right over here. There we go. One raven. Yeah, so the reintroduction. We've got the Kent project, which is going on now. Then we'll have the Purbeck project that will start next year with any luck. And we'll also have the Isle of Wight and Beachy Head project, which potentially will start next year as well. And that will aim to repopulate the key kind of strategic blocks of habitat, coastal cliff type habitat along the south coast of England, which will, as they establish, they'll fill up those habitats and gradually begin to exchange birds between those multiple populations. And with Cornwall, which is now a very well established population, and rebuild the meta population of red-billed chough. Now you could say, given that the Cornwall population continues to increase fairly dramatically, you know, it's doing as well as you could ever expect. A couple of stone chats knocking around here. Given that, why don't you just wait for natural recolonisation? I've got a lot of sympathy for that. But a counter argument to that is there's an awful lot of vacant habitat. If that vacant habitat was occupied, it's very high quality. If it was occupied by choughs, they would be, like the Cornwall population, more than likely very productive. They'd be producing a lot of chicks, and that in itself will be a major win for, you know, the UK conservation of choughs. Because if you have highly productive populations along the south coast, which are only absent because of persecution, not because of habitat change so much, if you had that highly productive population, that in its own right would be, you know, really valuable conservation success. But you'd also have source populations which could help to replenish and bolster the struggling populations in the west. So in Ireland they're doing very well, in Cornwall they're doing very well, in parts of South Wales they're doing pretty well, but apart from that they're doing really badly in Great Britain, red-billed chough. Don't know about the Isle of Man actually. Scotland they're not doing well at all. Some parts of Wales they're not doing so well. So I would argue, I think, that we're doing a big disservice to red-billed chough by their continuing absence, and just by basically saying, well, you know, we took you out of the landscape, but we're not going to do anything to bring you back again to help you out. Well, I think we have a moral responsibility as well as a kind of a technical, ecological logic for bringing them back. Do tell me what you think in the comments section. Can hear yellowhammer. Seen precious little signs of other bird migration this morning. Well, I say other, any bird migration this morning, apart from those goldfinches at the beginning. They're probably local breeders, to be honest. Plenty breeding around here. What is the time? It is 7:51. So yeah, I'm always very eager to hear feedback on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and watch as many of my videos as possible, because that helps me out basically. Yellowhammer calling. When will we hear soil buntings singing or calling? Can't be long now. Cannot be long now. There's a yellowhammer on that sycamore over there. Gorgeous male. Absolutely beautiful. Quite privileged to have a really good population of yellowhammers still on the Isle of Wight, especially on the southern coastal areas. Right on the summit of the hill here, in this little quarry where my car's parked down there. It's great. The little migrants drop into here. Migrant birds. Although they don't seem to be doing that today. No hirundines either. So I've still not, this spring, and bearing in mind it's the 20th of March, I've still not had swallows, sand martin, house martin, wheatear. Not had any of them. I've only had the odd chiffchaff. But I'm a very incompetent birder, so that could be it. I like this edge here. It's particularly good for feeding chiffchaffs. Had the odd lesser whitethroat in here as well in the spring. Looks good for subalpine warbler knocking about in the flowering blackthorn. Let's see if there's anything on rare bird alert yet. It's too early, but you know, you never know, do you? You never know, you know. There it is. So hoopoo in Cornwall. Nothing else. Nothing else of note. Right, let's get back to the car. I think what I'll do now is drop down into the undercliff, 7:55. Hey Flea, how you doing? Wah. Right. Yeah. Right, yeah. Tailgated now, so I'm not going to speed up. If he wants to go past me, he can. Here he goes. Gain absolutely nothing by going past me like that, but whatever floats your boat. Had a barn owl last night when I drove up here towards the car park. Always nice to see. This is a bit different, isn't it, people? Not looked up this little path in a few years, many years. My little mission up here. Oh, there's a nice chaffinch, I mean. The reason I'm coming up here is there's this little area. There's always looked really good for soil bunting. There's chaffinches singing, goldfinches, dunnocks. Lots of life so far. Unfortunately, the farmer's sprayed off his little stubble field here. Sprayed it off with chemicals. But yeah, listen out for a trilling soil bunting They're in Purbeck now. There's one last year at Arreton Barnes on the Isle of Wight, a male cell bunting. So it seems more than likely there's a few on the Isle of Wight knocking around. And this always looks like a really good area. So whilst I'm here, I might as well have a look and a listen, more to the point. Probably have houses built on it before too long. Can hear a yellowhammer in the distance. I'm not going to talk very much because I'm listening. Meadow pipit overhead. So yeah, if I was a cell bunting, I'd be nesting on this slope here. Obviously it's still early. They're beginning to form territories by now. But they're also still feeding in the stubble fields. Or at least yellowhammers are. But they will burst into song in these kind of weather conditions in mid to late March. Trying to find cell buntings is a bit needle in a haystack. So you basically have to walk around either in winter searching through stubble fields or early spring hoping for a snatch of song. And it's early spring and I'm hoping for a snatch of song. So far I've drawn a blank this spring. Just going to go to the summit here, then turn back again. But yeah, I'm sure at some point in the future I'll be able to add on a section to this video where there will be cell buntings. Do a before and after. But I'm not sure March 2026. Not sure there are any. Two song thrushes, chaffinch, another song thrush, yellowhammer, Rather nice little patch of habitat here. Just wanted to see what the habitat is like. As you reach the summit, is there much spring cropping going on just up here? I should imagine it is all spring crops. Oh, there's stubble on me on the left, stubble on the right. Lots of wintering habitat. Ought to be corn bunting up here then. They've not been on the island for 30 odd years, I think. Look at that, spring barley stubble by the look of it. And then we'll use some desiccant on there. Yeah, it's been sprayed off, but even so over winter it would have been good wintering habitat. Hence all the yellowhammers around this area. So along this edge here, there's plenty of really good habitat for cell bunting. They will be back by 2030 maybe. It's 2026 now. So we're not going to do a reintroduction. That was the original plan, was to reintroduce cell bunting to the Isle of Wight. But now they've spread into Purbeck and recolonising Dorset. We don't need to. One could argue Choughs might do the same thing, but the modelling work that's been done by Birds of Poole Harbour, very good piece of work, suggests it will take 3 or 4 decades for them to spread basically into Devon and then make their way along the south coast going east. And there's no guarantee they'll do it. There are long distances between, the best areas of habitat. After Prawl Point, there's quite a gap until we get to Portland and Purbeck. There are areas along that bit of coastline. There's a nice yellowhammer calling. There are bits of habitat, but east of Prawl Point before you get to Portland and Purbeck, but it is quite a gap. Right, yeah. Back down we go. Nice view from here down over Knighton. St Catherine's Point is just over that way, over the hill. What's the time now? 11 minutes past 8. Still time for the cell bunting to sing. Where are you, buddy? There's a yellowhammer sat on that hawthorn, calling away. Hey, buddy. No song, no snatch of song. Thought I was hearing a trill there, but it's a greenfinch, which in itself is nice. Well, it made a nice change, didn't it? Somewhere a little bit different. No cell buntings, but nice bit of landscape nonetheless. Right, just turn Strava off, remember this time. Save that activity. Then we'll head into Ventnor. No time to go to St Lawrence. £17 past 8, definitely no time. We can have a little walk around Ventnor Bay instead. Knighton village, very pretty indeed. More traffic lights that don't change. Good old island roads. Absolutely flipping hopeless. What's he doing? Oh, he's stopping there. I see. What is he doing? Clear what he was doing at all. He was indicating to park there, but God knows what he was doing. This is busy. Busy, busy. Cheers. Let me out very kindly. Proper rush hour here, haven't I? Second nice person of the morning that's allowed me to come out at a junction. Whereas that person was a bit of a moron. Yeah, traffic lights. Lovely. Not entirely convinced these lights are necessary. You never used to have traffic lights here. I'm not sure you have many accidents here either. Fine bit of undertaking there, just performed. Quite impressed by that. It's the kind of van I want, is this MV200. Let's correct myself there. They're a nice van, they're very small. If I was to get a small van, it would be an MV200. Wouldn't be a Heimer like that. I'd be tempted by a little Ford like that. Kind of. It's a very loud wren just over there. Is it going to stop now? I'll start a recording. There it is. Very nice. Very loud. Buried down there somewhere is the Bluetti. You can see it's on there. 68%. Pretty good. I think you can see that. So I'm going to go and grab the solar panels and see how long it takes me to get it up to 100%. So yes, the plan is to stick the solar panels up straight away. Let's wind the window down. Do I need to open the door? No, I don't. This is a little bit of a faff every morning, but it kind of works. Well, it works very well, to be honest. There we go. That one. Don't overlap them. Now when I have them like this, at this time of the year the lower cells do have a little bit of shade along the base. I don't know if that does actually affect them significantly. It may well do, but I don't know. Still seem to get plenty of charge. Right, now the fun and games, connecting them up. Got to find the correct connectors. So it's a black one and a red one. There they are. Now this is totally fail safe, you can't go wrong connecting these up. So basically I'm tethering the two panels together. This one's a bit knackered, the connector on this. It was driven over. So effectively it's one lead from each panel goes into these connectors. So they're all tethered together. Ooh. I try not to push them right in because they're hard to get out again. For a weakling with no grip strength, which is me, then find the solar connector thing, which is always buried underneath stuff. Again, the reality of living in a car. And right, the time is, what is the time? 68%, 8:43 AM I plugged it in, and it's currently drawing 31 watts, which, that's because it's early in the morning. Oh blimey, I forgot, I left my computer up in the house overnight. It was charging up there, so I better go and grab that. What did I say the time was? Whatever it is. Anyway, let's leave the camera on. I might as well put the hat on. This is the reality of filming as well. It's all very chaotic. There's no order to anything that I'm doing. Right, it's one computer procured. Let's just go down this way, make sure that wasn't birdsong. Well, it was birdsong, but work out what it was. It's probably a migrant blackcap. Don't know why I've got the binoculars hidden in my bag. I need them out on a morning like this. They look the part, don't they? Definitely the time to start looking out for dolphins now. They should turn up soon. March or April time. So that is the landlady, that's the owner of the house. And the dog, Holly. Going to see if there's any wheat ears on the harbour, as I always do. Every flipping morning. What's the time? 8:51. Perfect timing. Yeah, it definitely feels like a dolphin day. But is it a little bit early? I wonder. Gonna have to make sure the drone is constantly fully charged, so that if in an emergency, i.e. dolphins appearing, I can get ready quickly, get the drone out and get the dolphins. Well, there's no wheat ears out there that I can see. Might help if I cleaned my binoculars occasionally. Come on, Serin, fly over. Please fly over. It is definitely that time of year. Might do a quick loop around. What is the time? Is there time? Got 5 minutes. Let's do a quick 5-minute loop. I'm never quick going up these steps. I'm sure the lizards will be out and about. Let's have a butcher's. Dave the seat. That's literally the seat's name is Dave. It's not commemorating Dave, it is Dave. Oh, there's one lizard. Went in pretty quickly. They've just cut this, which is really good. Opened it up for the lizards. Oh, there's a couple there. Loads, loads. Thank you. Cheers. Loads of lizards. I shall have to bring the big camera along there. It's now since they cut it, it's the best area for the basking lizards. They're loving it. See if there's any on this wall. This was covered with ivy, or had become overgrown with ivy. It used to be a really good lizard wall, then the ivy took over. Then they opened it all up, probably 2 years ago. But I'm not convinced the lizards are back. Can't see any. It's come back later in the day. Really surprised. Yeah, can't see any. Very odd. Let's go around this way. Oh yeah, I was doing a loop, wasn't I? It was supposed to be a fast one. Lovely blackthorn. Definitely spring. Literally painting over the cracks. "8:58", there's the old pied wagtail calling down there somewhere. Pretty sure it nests in this building. Might be down on the old fisheries building. Yeah, there it is. Flying this way. Flying up here. Here he is, on the roof of this one now. One pied wagtail. I just heard a crest there, a fire crest. You might pick that out on the microphone as well. No sign of warts. It's a water railie. Long gone. Real shame. There's a pair of grey wagtails. Hey ho. So it's now 11:41 in the morning. I think I plugged this in at about 8:30, the Bluetti. 8:30 this morning. Let's see how much it's charged. It's now on 88% and we're getting 119 watts. Not bad. So yeah, another reality of living in a car is you can struggle, especially in winter, for power. But luckily I've got this massive Bluetti which somebody purchased for me very kindly from an Amazon wish list, incredibly kind. And I've got it connected up to the solar panels, and when it's sunny at least I've got full power for the day, which is really good. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video where I'll carry on this theme. Right, a quick interlude. I really hope you're enjoying my channel, and I get quite a lot of questions. How did you end up living in a car? How do you live in a car? And what are your plans going forward? Well, I've written a book on that subject, Breaking Free, by Cornish van dweller, funnily enough. You can find a link to where to purchase that in the description below this video, and where you'll also find links to my other books, such as this one, oddly enough, which is How to Write a Book on a Smartphone. And this book was actually written on my iPhone Mini 13 using voice to text dictation. And you'll also find this book, Bird Watching Around Ventnor. Link to that in the description below this video, and this one as well, Wildlife Watching Around Ventnor. I've written about 10 books, all of which are linked in the description below this video. Right, let's get back to watching my videos.